to go ahead and do this video to do a basic introduction to tarot. So if you're looking to want to better understand the cards when you get your own readings, or if you're interested in learning the cards yourself, this series of videos is going to be very helpful to you learning some of the basic meanings of the cards. I have them all split up by suite, and in this video we're going to be introducing the Major Arcana. So there are 21 Major Arcana out of the 78 cards in tarot. And a key thing to remember about Major Arcana is that it's energy that's not easily moved. It has a greater impact than the Minor Arcana. You can make a lot of changes with this energy, or it can overshadow or infiltrate even a situation based off of which cards you get. Major Arcana also tells us that there could be some turning points, some changes. It gives us some direction, a better understanding of the themes of the situation. And it ties the Minor Arcana together to build a full story. So the first card we're going to introduce is the Fool. The Fool is the number 0 card in tarot. And I'm going to use a traditional inspired Smith-Waite deck so that you can also understand the pictures, because a lot of the pictures help you better understand the cards. As you can see in this picture, this is a man going off of a cliff, but who knows what's down there below. This person is carefree, happy, seems to be starting on a new journey. With the Fool, it's a card meaning of doing something original, keeping an open mind, chase your dreams. It's definitely an energy of being free-spirited. You can also, in the positive light, be taking some calculated risks with the energy of the Fool in your reading. And depending on the surrounding Minor Arcana, sometimes the Fool can signify an emotional disorder that someone may be avoiding, but it is something that can be fixed. Your next card we're going to be focusing on is the Magician. The Magician is the number 1 card in tarot, and Magician represents power. It represents skill here. When the Magician comes out in a reading, it is a sign to use your full potential. Magician also asks you in a reading to use your skills effectively, to seize and create opportunities with the Magician energy, manifesting things into reality. The Magician can also represent certain people in a reading. Magician can represent a priest or priestess, an actual light worker, astrologer, or someone that uses magic, such as like a Reiki healer, for example. The Magician can also represent events. It can come out in the case of rituals, when it's time to perform a ritual, or when some type of spiritual connection can be made through the ritual. The Magician also signifies confidence, ambition, and the need to carry out your desires. The third card in tarot for the Major Arcana is the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is a very spiritual card. It comes out in readings when there could be a very spiritually gifted person. Maybe the querent is the gifted person, or there are people involved that have gifts. There is also a sign of psychic ability with the High Priestess card. It can show someone that's just very intuitive, has a very clear third eye chakra, and is very good at using their intuition. This card in a reading can also signify the state of dreams that may come into reality. Sometimes it can bring about a deja vu or a sense of familiarity in a situation. The High Priestess can also be a sign that you may need to start learning more about the divinations and the signs of occult, such as reading tarot. The 4th card in the Major Arcana Total Tarot deck is the Empress. So the Empress, with the number 3, represents the divine feminine energy. It's a state of fertility where things can begin and you can start on a new path. It can be a sign in readings for grounding, a need to connect with Mother Nature, whether that's going out for walks or spending some time with some animals that you may love. This can also be a signal to nurture something. If you're not nurturing, a pet, you may need to nurture yourself or nurture people around you that care about you. The Empress in the energy of fertility is a time to create something new. It could be a sign for personal growth. If you have been working on some goals, this is a good sign that you are on the right path to completing them. The Empress also in a reading can give you a sense of being self-assured, being self-aware, and getting in touch with your creative mind. So the next card in tarot, we have the Emperor. The Emperor is the number 4 card in the deck, and the Emperor is the masculine energy from the Empress. This energy for the Emperor speaks of raw power. It's about your strength. It has a lot of control over the root chakra, where you may need to take control of a situation or you're put in a place of authority. As an individual in a reading, the Emperor can signify a person in authority, a leader, a boss, or a manager. With this energy in a reading, you could be asked to be a protector for the situation. Maybe it's you that needs to take control and have the power to command a situation and direct it in a different path. The Emperor also has you going into your animal instincts and doing what you can to fight and survive in a situation. The Emperor can also represent a passion, having a desire to do things or desire for some things. And in relationships, it can represent the desire for sex. The next card we're going to look at is the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is the 5th card in tarot. A Hierophant is a card that comes out in readings when we are speaking of organized religious beliefs or practices. It can also represent the society, boundaries or limits placed on us by expectations of our society. It can also represent in a reading politics, if politics are involved, especially if in a career reading where there's maybe a hierarchy involved. The Hierophant can show its face in a reading. This is the energy of do as you are told. Certain traditions need to be upheld, or you're being restricted and limited to follow a certain path. As a person, the Hierophant can also represent a priest or preacher. The next card we're going to look at is the Lovers. Lover's card energy is number 6, and it is a very sought out card when it comes to relationships, emotional connection, and some type of partnership. It can represent a twin flame energy if you follow that path, or just a soulmate energy where there is a purpose for the partnership to help on your individual or collective spiritual journeys. The Lover's card energy also represents needs for affection and a desire to share love or for a genuine friendship. The Lover's card can also represent compassion for one another, to start a new partnership or focusing on a primary partnership in the case of polyamory. You could just want to focus on the partner that you spend the most time with, or the one that you may have the most responsibilities with. This is a traditional card of romance here, and it can lead to a new or deepening side of a relationship. The 7th card in tarot is the Chariot. And the Chariot represents success, just as this horse is driving through the atmosphere. It's the signal of your energy of being focused and having a sense of purpose, being able to focus on a goal or a mission, and definitely looking for some rewards at the end of the journey. Chariot can come out in readings where it can help negate any negative energy in a reading. If you have some minor arcanas that are challenging, having the Chariot in your reading can be a signal of you overcoming the challenges that are presented to you. The next card in tarot, number 8, is Strength. And the Strength card in tarot represents exactly that. It is the energy of showing your courageous side, showing your pride, having a healthy sense of ego. The Strength also can show in a reading when you've reached a point of self-mastery, where you are proud enough for what you have learned and you're ready to show off your skills. Strength card can also represent the power to overcome the obstacles and being prepared for a battle. With Strength, you have a lot of courage and are ready to take on the task at hand. Strength can also come out in a reading where there's just a time for you to be hopeful and have faith in oneself. The next card in tarot, number 9, is the Hermit. So the Hermit card is a energy where you can come out in a reading where there may be a need for a self-reflection, looking at your inner wounds, your inner child, seeing what things that happened in the past that are still affecting your present time. Hermit card can come out when an individual may need self-protection or is in a period of introspection. This could also be a signal that someone is on a journey to become more self-aware and they've gone within themselves to better understand themselves and the surroundings. In the negative light, this could be a sign in readings of depression or loneliness. Hermit means exactly that, to withdraw. And sometimes it can also represent a specific teacher or guide. And in relation to well-being and health, this can represent a physician or some type of doctor that is trained in the arts of medicine to assist. The next card we have is the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is the 10th card in tarot, and it comes out when there is a turning point of events in a reading. With the Wheel of Fortune card energy, it is about fate, life-changing circumstances. It's a reminder of the ebb and flow of good times and the low times. So if you are experiencing a reading where times may be high, it is a reminder to stay humble, because you will have to go through some challenges in order to continue to prosper. Wheel of Fortune in a reading can also signify new opportunities, a door being open and one that may be closed that's just not fit for you. It can be a signal that you are at a crossroads or a turning point in a situation or relationship, and that the decisions made from here on out will have a major change on that atmosphere. The 11th card in tarot is the Justice card. And the Justice card comes out as the number 11 card to signify balance and fairness. Justice also represents a state of karma, where there can be karmic circumstances that are affecting the situation, or it could be a sign that spirit or your higher power is trying to take control of the situation where your own efforts may have failed. The Justice card in a reading can also signify a legal battle, having to go to court, dealing with a ticket, or having to deal with some type of dispute where there's more than one party involved. This can also be a sign for a person of having integrity and wanting to stay fair and equal in all situations. The 12th card in tarot is the Hangman. And as you can see in this picture, it seems to be someone that is restrained multiple times and is unable to move. And the picture really resonates with the meaning of the card. It can mean to feel trapped in a situation or to feel stuck. This can signify a temporary pause in a situation or relationship, and then puts you, the querent, or another individual involved in a state of waiting. The Hangman can also signify some type of delay in the plan, and it's something that you're unable to control because you're restricted by some outside circumstances. And emotionally, especially with surrounded by a lot of cup cards, the Hangman can signify anxiety and depression and sometimes feeling victimized. The 13th card in tarot is the Death card. And the Death card is one of the ominous cards in the deck, where there are a lot of myths around the energy of the Death card. Each reader has their own interpretation, and I will give you all mine. The Death card is a sign of some inevitable change. where you will not be able to go back to the way that things were, or the situation has changed because of some circumstances that are just due to come. This can also signify a need to transform, especially if there's a situation that isn't working based off of your current ideas and plans and thoughts. You may need to transform to adapt to the situation to have a better understanding on where your limits are and where you can actually make a change. This gives you an opportunity to pause and make a better effort to work on a situation. It may require some compromise or sacrifice of something that no longer has a purpose in your life. Death card, people can believe that the death card can signify a physical death, but there would need to be a significant amount of cards to show that. The death card by itself does not signify only a physical death. The 14th card in tarot is the Temperance. The Temperance is a card of balance. As you can see, he's pouring water from one vessel to another in a state of serenity, feeling at peace with yourself and the situation. After a period of turmoil, the Temperance can come out in a reading showing that things are being restored to balance. This can also be a sign of a reconciliation between a relationship or in a situation. In a reading for advice for a person, it can be a signal to do things in moderation. You may need to be more restrained with your words or your gifts, or more restrained with the care and energy that you put out to another entity. The Temperance is a state of peace of mind, being unbothered, where you are working out a situation and feeling successful about the outcomes. Sometimes the Temperance can show up in a reading to show reconciliation, especially if there's a truce involved as well, because the whole key is to restore things to balance. So we have the 15th card in tarot, which is the Devil. The Devil is one of those ominous cards as well, one that people fear getting in their reading because it has such a strong meaning. With this 15th card, the Devil can represent a sign of negativity right off the bat. It can be the opposite of the Magician card, where it can show there could be some worker that's involved in the occult or magical practices that does not work on the side of the light. They may have bad practices, ulterior motives here. The Devil can also be a state of being controlled or restrained here, either by anger, lust, fear, or greed. It can also signify in a reading where there could be some type of addiction to a person, love addiction to a substance, addiction to work also. In the Devil card, when it comes out in a reading, it can also signify being tied to a situation, feeling bonded, and being in a state of helplessness. At the end of a reading, as an outcome, the Devil card can show that there may be some negative consequences for the actions of the querent or other people involved in the reading. The 16th card in tarot is the Tower. And the Tower can mean good and not so good things, especially depending on the cards. The Tower is definitely one of those cards in a reading that can adapt to the situation depending on the surrounding cards. Ultimately, the Tower means some unexpected change, like the lightning that's hitting this tower. And as you can see that there are people falling out to try to be saved. It can also signify some unfortunate circumstances, something that you were not prepared for. It can be an accident, or it's a change in circumstances or situation that brings some instability. The Tower comes out a lot also in the high vibration when there's some surprise happening, and it could be that you may have planned something, but you may get something greater in return. It can also be a very shocking situation or some shocking news that you were not expecting to hear when the Tower comes out in your readings. The 17th card in tarot is the Star. So after a period of turmoil with the energy of the Tower card, you get back to peace and serenity with the Star. This is you connecting with your higher power and having faith in the divine and being able to communicate to get to a state of recovery. The star comes out when you are getting a second chance and feeling anew. The star can also come out in a reading when there needs to be a pause for a state of healing, whether it's physical healing or some spiritual healing that's needed. You need to take some personal time to yourself. The star in the high vibration can also show that you may be setting some positive intentions or making some wishes that you would like to come true. And the star energy in a reading can definitely help bring some things into reality that you are being very hopeful for. The 18th card in tarot is the moon. And the moon can come out in readings when it overshadows a situation with some darkness. There could be some secrets, some untold truths here in the energy of the moon. The moon can also signify a period of fear, having a high state of anxiety, feeling very worried, and thinking very pessimistically. The moon can be a signal of someone rejecting an emotional connection, wanting to go on the darker side and keep to themselves. The moon can also be a signal where you're stuck in a state of fear or caution from a situation and having a hard time being able to move forward. The moon is a very private card. It could be a signal that somebody wants to keep things near and dear to them and may not want to speak about them. And it can also come out in readings when someone is dealing with night terrors or nightmares and having a hard time sleeping. The 19th card in tarot is the sun. The sun is the time of positivity. It shows good outcome, news, and being successful. It's a state of feeling at ease, having your wishes fulfilled, and meeting a goal. The sun can also is one of those cards like the Chariot that can negate any negative energy that's happening in a reading. It brings hope and positivity where the moon may have brought a sense of darkness. The 20th card in tarot near the end is the Judgment card. The Judgment is a state of resurrection, being able to get a second chance at something, a renewed relationship or a renewed situation. It's something that's coming back to you. The Judgment card can show very often in Mercury retrograde readings where you're getting an opportunity to correct something that happened in the past. It may be a similar situation with different people, or it may be the same people coming back for some reconciliation or closure. The Judgment card can also be a signal of you making a choice, a state of finality, wanting to get a close to a situation and finally have some type of ending. And lastly, we have 21, which is the World. And the World brings you to a state of positivity and prosperity in a reading. This is a signal that things are coming full circle. You're connecting the dots and better understanding the situation. This puts you in a state of divine understanding as well, where there's more self-awareness and coupled with the awareness of the situation. The World comes out in a reading when you have completed a major project. It can be a signal of some positive luck or positive signs for the future. And it can also be a signal of being genuinely happy and restoring a sense of material wealth. So this is the introduction to the Major Arcana in Tarot. Please do continue to look at the series for my introduction to the 4 suites of the Minor Arcana. Wish you many blessings of love and light, and keep training.